In the heart of Igboland, where the red earth breathed stories of ancestors and the winds whispered secrets through tall palm trees, lived Amaka, a beautiful young woman of 20 years. She was an orphan, raised lovingly by her powerful uncle, Chief Obinna, a man respected and feared by all the villagers of Umuokoro. From the day her parents passed, Amaka was like a cherished flower in her uncle's grand compound, her every step watched, her every smile admired. Yet, beneath her gentle exterior, Amaka carried a restless spirit and a secret hope for a life beyond the dusty paths of her village. One evening, under the pale light of a crescent moon, Amaka met Chaik, a wandering trader with stories as vast as the savannah. His laughter was infectious, his eyes full of mystery. They shared stolen moments beneath the mango trees, laughter mixing with the songs of cicadas. But soon, Amaka discovered she was pregnant. The news spread like wildfire. Chief Obinna's face darkened with shame when he learned of his niece's condition. To him, family honor was everything. A scandal would ruin the name he had built through sweat and sacrifice. "Amaka," he said coldly one morning, "you have brought disgrace upon us all. You must leave this house." Amaka's heart shattered. The uncle who had once held her close now cast her out like a shadow at sunset. No longer sheltered, she was left to face the world alone. With only a small bundle of clothes and a heavy heart, Amaka fled into the vast forest that bordered the village, a place where spirits were said to dwell, and the trees whispered warnings to those who dared enter. Days passed in a blur of hunger and fear. The river's song became her only companion, its cool waters promising peace amidst the torment. One night, under the watchful gaze of the Iroko tree, sacred and ancient, Amaka gave birth. The baby's cries pierced the silent night. Amaka wrapped her daughter in a faded wrapper, and around the tiny neck, she fastened a red coral bead, a keepsake from her mother, meant to protect and connect generations. But as dawn approached, desperation overwhelmed her. She could not feed or care for the child. The village had turned its back, her uncle's door was shut tight. With tears streaming down her face, Amaka placed the baby gently by the riverbank, whispering prayers to the ancestors. "Take care of her," she begged the spirits. "She is my blood, my hope." Then, swallowed by shadows and sorrow, Amaka disappeared into the forest, leaving her daughter's fate to the unknown. Far away from human judgment, lived Neoma, a woman who knew exile all too well. Banished years before for a crime she never confessed, she made her home deep in the forest, among the rustling leaves and singing birds. One morning, Neoma heard a faint cry near the river. Following the sound, she found the abandoned child, wrapped and vulnerable. Something stirred in her heart, a mother's instinct long buried. She took the baby in, naming her Adiz, meaning princess. Though she never spoke of Adiz's origin, Neoma kept the red coral bead close, knowing it held a story yet to be told. Years passed. In the village, life went on. Chief Obinna's family grew, with Amaka's cousin having children and the village praising their prosperity. But the river, with its secrets and sorrows, waited patiently for the past to surface. One fateful afternoon, Amaka, now married to a kind-hearted man named Iphene and mother to a young son, returned to the village for a ceremony. Drawn by a force she could not explain, she wandered toward the riverbank where her daughter's cries had once echoed. There, she saw a graceful young girl drawing water, her skin glistening in the sun, her movements full of quiet dignity. Around the girl's neck hung the unmistakable red coral bead. Amaka's breath caught in her throat. Time stood still as memories flooded back. The girl was Adiz, her daughter, alive and raised by the exile in the forest. This discovery shattered Amaka's carefully built life. Guilt and fear twisted inside her like a storm. Could she reclaim the daughter she had abandoned? Would Adiz accept the mother who had left her? She sought out Neoma's humble hut, accompanied by Iphene and Chief Obinna, hoping for answers. Neoma, calm but firm, confirmed the truth. "I found the child by the river," she said softly. "I raised her with all the love I had." When Adiz returned home, Neoma gently shared the story. Shock rippled through the young girl's eyes. Who are you?" Adiz asked, looking at Amaka and Iphene. Amaka fell to her knees. "I am your mother. I'm so sorry." Adiz sat frozen, her heart pounding like the drums at the village festival. The woman kneeling before her claimed to be her mother, the very mother who had left her alone in the forest, to be raised by an exile. The red coral bead around her neck suddenly felt heavy, a silent witness to a story she never wanted to hear. Tears welled up in Adiz's eyes. She wanted to run, to hide, to scream, anything but face the flood of emotions crashing within her. "If you loved me," she whispered, her voice trembling, "why did you leave me by the river? Why did you abandon me?" Amaka's tears fell freely now, her voice broken and filled with remorse. "Because I was young, scared, and broken. I thought someone else could give you the life I could never provide. Please, forgive me." Iphene stood silently by her side, guilt and sorrow etched deep on his face. He had loved Amaka dearly but had never known about Adiz until this moment. His heart ached with the weight of lost years. In the days that followed, the village became a stage for a heartbreaking reunion. Some villagers whispered cruelly about Amaka's past mistakes, while others showed compassion. But Adiz's heart was a battleground. She loved Neoma, the woman who had raised her with tireless devotion and fierce protection. Neoma's stories, her laughter, and her warm embrace were all Adiz had ever known. Yet, the blood in her veins called out, pulling her toward Amaka and Iphene. At night, Adiz would lie awake, staring at the moon, torn between two worlds, the mother who gave her life and the mother who gave her love. The red coral bead felt like a chain, binding her to a destiny she hadn't chosen. Amaka and Iphene tried their best to reach her. They brought gifts, books, clothes, and promises of a better future. But Adiz remained distant, her eyes guarded like a fortress. One afternoon, Amaka found Adiz sitting alone by the river, skipping stones. "Will you ever forgive me?" Amaka asked softly, sitting beside her. Adiz didn't answer immediately. She tossed another stone and finally said, "I forgive you, But I can't leave Neoma. She is my mother. The only mother I've ever known." Amaka nodded, swallowing her pride and pain. "I understand." Despite the fragile peace, the wounds ran deep. Ifini grew colder, retreating into himself as he wrestled with the loss of 8 years of fatherhood stolen by secrets. Amaka felt the weight of her decision crushing her spirit. She spent sleepless nights haunted by the faces of those she had hurt, her husband, her daughter, and herself. Months passed. One evening, Ifini finally broke the silence. In their small home, under the flickering candlelight, he confronted Amaka. "Why didn't you tell me?" His voice was thick with hurt. "If you had told me, I would have helped you find her." Amaka's tears fell like rain. "I was afraid. Afraid of losing you, afraid of what the village would say. I thought hiding the truth was protecting us all." Ifini reached for her hand. "Secrets don't protect. They destroy." In that moment, a fragile bridge of understanding began to form between them. Determined to heal, Ifini suggested they return to the village to build a new relationship with Adiz. Under the midday sun, they found her at Neoma's hut, older now, poised and wise beyond her years. Adiz greeted them with quiet dignity. "I'm glad you came," she said. "But I need you to understand, I am still Neoma's daughter." Amaka nodded, tears welling. "And you will always be mine, too." Slowly, a new chapter began. Amaka and Ifini became part of Adiz's life, sending money for school fees, visiting during festivals, and attending ceremonies together. The village, too, began to change. The whispers softened into acceptance. Adiz blossomed into a young woman admired for her kindness, intelligence, and strength. When asked about her mother, she smiled softly and said, "I have 2 mothers. One who gave me life. The other who gave me love. And that was enough." Years passed like the steady flow of the river by which Adiz had once been left. The village of Umuokoro, once quick to judge and slow to forgive, now embraced her as one of their own. But the true journey of healing was far from over. Adiz stood beneath the ancient Iroko tree, now a confident young woman of 18, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of one who had walked through fire and emerged stronger. Though she had accepted both Amaka and Neoma as her mothers, a question lingered. Why had Amaka really left her that night by the river? One evening, after a village celebration, Adiz sat with Amaka in the quiet of the moonlit compound. The air was thick with unspoken words. "Mother," Adiz began cautiously, "there is something I need to know. Why did you leave me? Was it only fear?" Amaka's eyes filled with tears. She reached for Adiz's hand, her voice barely a whisper. "There was more than fear. Your father, he was not a man of honor. When I found out I was pregnant, he was gone, leaving only shame behind. My uncle wanted to protect the family name, and I was too young and weak to fight. I thought leaving you was the only way to save you." Adiz's heart twisted with anger and sorrow. "But you didn't fight for me." "I tried," Amaka said, voice trembling. "But the village turned against me. I was lost, broken. I made the worst choice of my life. But I never stopped loving you." Meanwhile, Ifini struggled with his own torment. Though he had embraced Adiz as his daughter, a shadow loomed over his heart. One afternoon, while clearing out old family documents in Chief Obinna's house, Ifini stumbled upon a faded letter. It was from a man named Chaka, Amaka's first love, the father who had vanished years ago. The letter revealed a shocking truth. Chaka had sent money and letters to Chief Obinna, begging him to protect Amaka and the child. But the proud chief, blinded by pride, had ignored every plea. Ifini confronted Chief Obinna. "How could you keep this from us?" he demanded. The chief lowered his head in shame. "I thought I was protecting the family's honor. But I see now I only destroyed it." Armed with this truth, Ifini sought out Adiz and Amaka. "I want us to face the past together," he said firmly. "Only by facing our mistakes can we heal." Together, they approached Neoma's humble home. To their surprise, Neoma welcomed them with open arms. "You all carry wounds," she said softly. "But love can be the balm that heals." Months later, the village gathered for a special ceremony, one that would mark a new beginning. Adiz stood tall, surrounded by the two women who had shaped her life. In front of the elders, she declared, "I am the daughter of two mothers. One gave me life, the other gave me love. Today, I choose to honor them both." The crowd erupted in applause, tears streaming down many faces. Chief Obinna stepped forward, publicly asking for forgiveness. "I failed my family," he confessed. "But today, I pledge to protect and support my niece and her daughter." As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold, Amaka, Ifini, Adiz, and Neoma stood together. They were no longer broken fragments but a family, healed by truth, love, and forgiveness. And the river, once a place of sorrow, now sang a song of hope.